Alright, here's the thing. I love VR. I've been playing VR games for more than 2 years daily. But I can't lie, something has been bugging me recently, and it gets worse when I see that practically no one else is talking about it. That's why today I decided, hey, you know what? This makes for a perfect video topic that will allow me to see what people really think about this. Are there people out there bothered by the same thing as I am, or is it just me? What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the fact that the majority of story-driven VR games have bad stories. And when I say bad, I'm probably being generous. Like seriously, whenever a new VR game gets announced these days and a description says quote unquote, embark on an epic journey or something similar, I'm like, yeah, I'm certain your campaign is gonna suck, but if you say so. You see, we're not talking about multiplayer games or roguelikes here. We're talking about single-player, story-driven VR-only games. Games that are defined by their stories. The way I see it, if you're a developer, if you're making a VR game and you're presenting it as a story-driven game, whether it's action-adventure, horror, whatever, if you're describing your game as a story-driven experience, then your game must have a decent story. I'm not saying it has to be the best story ever written. I know most VR developers are independent, with little to no funding. So I'm not expecting a Naughty Dog level of storytelling, certainly not. But what I am expecting is a decent story, well-written characters, a good plot, something that makes sense, a story that feels like it was written by actual humans with actual brains, and not by AI. And yes, I'm looking at you, Arcanage. You know what? I take that back. That's not fair. To AI. Because I'm pretty certain AI could have written a better story with better characters than Vitruvius did with Arcanage. I'm sorry, Vitruvius. I love you guys, but that story was horrible. And you see, this is not just an Arcanage problem. If it was, I wouldn't be making this video. Arcanage is just an example. And it's a perfect example that highlights exactly what I'm talking about. A story-driven VR game with great gameplay, decent visuals if you can tolerate the art style and the aliasing issues, but a very bad story. And hey, if you play story-driven games for just the gameplay, which I assume many of you do, since apparently everyone loved Arcanage, then chances are you're not even following right now. But if you're like me, a PlayStation gamer first and foremost, who grew up playing PlayStation Studios' awesome single-player games, then gameplay alone is not gonna cut it for you. Again, it would be a completely different story if you're talking about a multiplayer game, for example. That type of games doesn't need a story, doesn't need memorable characters, it just needs a solid gameplay and solid visuals, and that's all. But if we're talking strictly single-player story-driven games, then yeah, I think the story is probably the most important part of the equation. To me, it literally makes or breaks the game. You know, when I look back on the PS4 generation, one of the PS4 games I still remember to this day and consider one of my all-time favorites is Until Dawn. Now, if you played Until Dawn before, then you know that game doesn't have much gameplay. But you know what it has? An incredibly well-written story that made it one of the highlights of the PS4 generation. You know what game I consider to offer the best gaming experience to this day? Resident Evil Village on PSVR 2. Now, Resident Evil Village has a lot going for it. You can love it for the gameplay, you can love it for the cutting-edge graphics, for the immersion, for the level design, etc. But you'll be lying to yourself if you say you didn't love it for the story. And yes, I know that's Capcom, a huge publisher, so not your average VR developer, but again, take a look at Vampire the Masquerade Justice. Easily one of the best VR games out there, in my opinion. It was developed by Fast Travel Games, so definitely did not have a huge budget. All of this to say that, dear developers, it's not impossible to make a good VR game with a good story. I swear, it's not impossible. I know you prioritize gameplay and you think that having manual reloading in your game or dual wielding is going to shock us, but really, it doesn't. We're used on that at this point. Sure, if you're just starting your VR journey, then that's gonna leave you impressed. But trust me, once you get used on that, you're gonna want more depth in your games. I don't want to kill enemies over and over again for no purpose, like an Arcanage. No, I want that to make sense. And I want to know if any of you guys feel the same way. That's why I'm making this video, to find out whether or not I'm alone in this. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Also, if you do agree with me that VR games have a story problem, then please like and share the video to reach more people. Maybe you can help us convince some developers to reconsider their choices for upcoming VR games. I'm not counting on it, but you never know. And that's gonna have to do it for this video, guys. As always, thank you for watching, and remember, for more VR news, reviews, and discussions, make sure you stick with MBG.